shoots a big buck, and then that guy and his three buddies aren't coming back to deer camp this next year because this guy's a tool and hunted too close to him. Like, it just seems like today there's less and less of that, and it's cool to see it preserved in the way that you're doing it. And I mean, what do you attribute that to?
I think there's a few reasons why it's dying off. One thing, honestly, that you might have even touched on a little bit is hunting has, and more probably through social media than anything, it's become more of a personal thing, maybe a little bit too much prideful for some people too. Like, you're kind of just, you isolate yourself because, like, you want to make sure you're a good hunter. You kind of want to shine, and so that tends to kind of put you in like a bubble. When years ago, like, you'd be just as happy if your cousin, your buddy, whatever, would kill a bigger buck than you, or if you got nothing and someone else at camp did. It was all about the celebration. It was more of a teamwork than that type of environment. And I mean, I know at my camp, our family camp, we're still that way. Like, we still have around 20 guys that come every year. Unfortunately, some of them are getting fairly old, and like, they can't do what they used to. I mean, the mountains don't get any less steep, and your knees only hurt more as you get older. So we're seeing some of that, but the passion's still there, and the love is still there, which is very special. And I don't think we have a pride issue. I mean, I'm certainly, I mentioned that, but by all means, I honestly, all of my hunting, I do it for God. I'm a Christian person. I try to glorify Him through all the gifts He gives me. So I've been blessed for that, and that's my mindset. And really, at our camp, it's a very similar mindset. But unfortunately, I see some issues, in today's age, and I think that's part of the camp tradition dying off, is because it's become more of a personal thing.
I mean, I wholeheartedly agree with you on that, but I can't help but kind of wrap myself out because you have those people that, let's say, because where we hunt, there's a lot of people from around our town that kind of know where we hunt.
Right.
And if we spend the summer down there scouting and doing all the work before the season starts, and we head down there, and let's say all of our previous summer scouting didn't turn out, or maybe it got overran in some areas that we didn't expect a lot of pressure to be.
Hmm.
It'll sometimes take us 5 days on the fly to try to at least get in the game, and all of a sudden, let's say you get it done. You got people that just showed up 2 days ago for the first time this year, and
Yeah.
all of a sudden they're like, "Hey, let me go help you drag out that buck," and it's just like, I don't think so. But I don't know. I get caught in those emotions, but like, I do agree. I am on your side. Like, it should be a community thing, but then again, it's just like some communities kind of need to be, tight knit, if that makes sense.
I'm also saying, like, we're not letting John Smith, that we never
Oh, I
met,
get it. Yeah.
just show up and stay at Sherk's camp. Like, we have good ethics for the most part. I mean, I'll be honest with you, we all keep some secrets. Like, and honestly, I'm on social media a whole lot, but like, there's a lot of things I don't put on social media because, like, you weigh it out. Like, is this potentially going to hurt me or hurt someone else if I talk about this or let people know this? And I want to share information, knowledge, my experience to the best of my abilities, but then I also draw a line. Like, okay, but wait a second, I see some potential threats here, and I think you just kind of you weigh everything out. But yeah, certainly, I think it's wise to be careful because there's also, like you said, a lot of people that will just take advantage of you, and that's unfortunate because something that, sure you guys feel the same way. Like, hunting has a special place in all of our hearts, and like, we work really hard at it. You do all this scouting, you put in all this effort for only someone to come in and kind of take advantage of you. So you definitely keep things in a safe that can never get let out. You just keep them in your heart. And there's nothing wrong with that at all. But still, going back to what I said, like, I totally agree with what you're saying, but yet hunting really still is becoming more of just an individual thing. Knowledge also, the increase in desire for knowledge now is way more than what I've ever seen. Like, these podcasts, YouTube. I mean, you just name it. There's so much knowledge available, and it's so quickly accessible, easily accessible. So there's just a lot of changes in hunting that made it become an individual thing. But then again, I still think finding the right hunting buddies that you can trust, and those friendships, and those kind of things, like those are things that we still should always consider to have, because there's something really special about that those type of relationships that you can share with others. Those are things that by the end of your life you might look back and be like, man, I really missed out. Those are some special things. I shouldn't have kept everything to myself. I should have just been a little bit more considerate of how I handled my passion for hunting.
Yeah, it deer camp too. It turns deer hunting, which is like a me sport, into like a we
Yes.
sport, and I really like that because
Yeah.
we hunt with a couple of my close buddies, Jake and my other buddy Peyton, and then my uncle, and now my brothers have started coming, and my uncle's friends, and there's just nothing better when we're in the mountains and we don't run the Garmin's. Like, we don't have be able to text like while we're actually hunting. It's just no service at all, and
Mostly here too. Yeah.
yeah, and there's just nothing better than going back to camp and being like, "Did you shoot one?" And then someone says, "No, I didn't." And you're like, "Oh, you're so full of crap." And you walk over and you open their truck door and you're like going through their quiver and their arrow